Hey, in this video I just want to quickly show you a reverb technique that will completely transform and level up your mixes. Yes, your mixes. Here, just check this out.
What if I stayed here? What if I leave? Could it ever be more than it was? What if I told you it's not a piece? Is it better for me than the rest? What if I stayed here? What if I leave? Could it ever be more than it was?
As you can hear, I exported this project twice, once with the reverb technique and once without. That's the only difference between the two. Yet the one of the reverb technique enabled sounds so much more alive and spacious. Here, listen again.
What if I told you? What if I told you? It's not. What if I told you?
So, how do we do it? Luckily, it's super easy, so let me show you. The technique itself is pretty simple. You essentially just want to create a very short and very small reverb to sort of create fake space for a few elements within your mix. I've got the vocal sample soloed right now.
What if I stayed here? What if I leave? Could it ever be more than?
As you can see, I have a few effects on here. A reverb used like a regular reverb, Soothe 2 to get rid of some resonances, Shaper Box to sidechain, and finally a Pro Q to clean up the vocals. But these aren't relevant to this technique. What is relevant is the other reverb at the top here. Let me mute and unmute it so you can hear the difference it makes just on the vocals alone.
What if I stayed here? What if I leave? Could it ever be more than it was? What if I told you it's not a piece?
Crazy, right? So let's open it up. By the way, I used the Valhalla Vintage Verb plugin as my reverb of choice here, but you can still achieve this technique with virtually any reverb plugin. Let's actually mute this reverb and open up a new instance of the plugin, and I'll walk you through the process of creating this type of effect from scratch. Okay, the first thing you'll want to do is remove any sort of pre-delay. By default, this reverb is set to 20 milliseconds, so let's turn it down to 0. Now, this reverb also has an attack dial right here, which I will also turn to 0. We're turning these settings down since we don't want our reverb to sound delayed or feel sluggish. It should be direct and feel like it's right there. Next, let's grab our main decay and turn it as low as possible.
What if I stayed here? What if I leave?
This will make the reverb extremely short, which is exactly what we want. Next, the size knob. You'll want to turn this down a lot too.
What if I stayed here? What if I leave? Could it ever be more than it was? What if I told you it's not a piece?
Usually something between 0% to 30% works great for this technique, but this heavily varies from plugin to plugin. For example, with the Valhalla Vintage Verb right here, going all the way down to 0% can sound fantastic, while other plugins might sound too unnatural there or even flip the reverb to mono, so definitely experiment and see what works best for you. These are sort of the main settings that you need to dial in for this technique to create that short, small and direct reverb we're looking for. We can go a little further though. In this plugin, the high cut EQ is set to 8000 Hz by default. I typically prefer to open it up completely and have no EQ applied at all. You can also mess around with the damping, modulation and diffusing settings if your plugin has them, but I like the default settings here. If your reverb has a mode setting like this one, you can definitely play around with those, as each mode will give you heavily different results.
Could it ever be more than it was? What if I told you it's not a piece? Is it better for me than the rest? What if I stayed here? What if I leave?
The two modes I find typically work the best here are room and plate, since we're essentially creating a super small space with this technique. And yeah, that's almost it. The last thing you'll want to do is dial in the mix knob. Anything from 20% to 50% usually works great here, depending on how intense you want the effect to be and how spacious you want the element to feel.
If I stayed here, what if I leave? Could it ever be more than it was? What if I told you it's not a piece?
For example, in this project, I had the mix for the vocals set at 50%. On the top layer of our bass, it's at 28%. On this percussion group, it's at 22%. And on the hi-hats, I have it set to 30%. There's also one more important thing I want to mention. Like with any mixing technique, you don't want to overdo it. And in this case, you really don't want to overdo it. As you can see for this project, I only applied this reverb technique to our vocals since they're the main part of this drop, the top bass layer since that's the sort of thing the listener will pay attention to, and finally our background percussion and cymbals. That's it, I didn't use it on anything else. It's not on our sub bass, the main drums, meaning our kick and clap at the top here, or the pad that comes in during the second half and that weird reverse plunk here. So if you decide to use this technique, definitely pick and choose your spots. Putting this type of reverb on everything can easily do the opposite, and instead of enhancing your mix, it will ruin it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how a simple reverb can heavily enhance your mixes, making them go from boring and dull to spacious and powerful. Also, before you leave, we recently dropped a brand new freebie called Rise. It's packed with all the essential effects like textures, atmosphere samples, crash transitions, downlifters, uplifters, impacts, risers, and more. Here, I'll play some. Again, it's completely free to download, and I thought I'd quickly mention it here since we released it just a few weeks ago. The link will be in the description, definitely go check it out. Bye for now.